I just don't think this is my thing.
Are you for real? We open in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm for real. Good luck with it, man.
You're serious?
Yeah, I'm fucking serious.
You can't do this to me, Adam. I invested $2,000. I can't get that back. You didn't invest anything.
Yeah, I did. My time. And I can't get my time back, so I guess we're even.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Boys Watching Girls. We're your hosts. I'm Joe Welke.
I'm Vance.
And we're just a couple pop culture junkies. Yeah, Vance just made a barf face because we're watching the HBO's Girls episode by episode, breaking it down. And today is episode 8, which is titled Weirdos Need Girlfriends Too. It is directed by Jody Lee Lipes. Still not sure if that's the correct pronunciation, but I'm going with it anyway. Written by Lena Dunham and Dan Sterling. Original air date June 3rd, 2012. And this is a big episode. You know why?
Why, Joe? Why?
This is the first episode to break the 1 million viewers mark.
Whoa, really?
Yep. 1.09 million people watch this. Big jump from the last episode, which was 8.868.
I wonder if this was like a little mid-season cliffhanger thing where people were able to get on track with it, and then, you know,
I have no idea.
Because the last one left off with a nice little cliffhanger and the whole like drama.
Yeah, like, do you want me to be your
Hannah,
fucking boyfriend?
The whole
Is that
Hannah
what
and
you
Adam
want?
thing comes to a head. So,
yeah,
maybe that did it.
Yeah,
1
maybe.
million. This is where it starts to uptick.
This is the first million episode.
And this episode's weird.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what are your initial thoughts after just watching this episode?
The thoughts will come out once we dive into it, but right now I'm just like, I don't know how to feel about this episode right now.
I feel real weird about it too.
I feel like I shouldn't have been watching this. I feel dirty. I feel dirty, and yet I'm afraid to shower because of this episode.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was funny at first, and then it just like took weird dark turns at certain points, and I don't know what's going on.
I don't know what we're rooting for. I don't know whose side.
I really didn't like anybody in this episode. No. Usually, Jessa is the target of all of my hatred, but this episode, I was like, oh,
she's fine in this episode. I mean, she's a mess, but she's fine in it. And we're missing our girl Shoshana in this one. Shoshana.
No Shoshana in this episode.
Which is a weird pickup to not have Shoshana after like last episode with her and Ray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They left left us dangling
Maybe
off
we
that
get
cliff.
A whole Shoshana episode next.
That'll never happen. Never happen. They hate Shoshana in the show. The only good part of the show. The only little bit of light in this dark girl's world.
When she turns horrible, it's going to be...
That's going to suck.
Yeah.
All
right.
right.
Sense is going to be gone.
So this episode is very much a Hannah and Adam episode and a Marnie and Jess episode. Mm-hmm. Their stories are linked. I feel like we should just tackle them as that.
Yeah.
You know? Because we can't be like, oh, this is Marnie's story without talking about Jessa. We can't say this is Hannah's story without talking about Adam.
Well, do you want to just dive into the Hannah and Adam stuff? Let's just get into that.
Let's do Hannah and Adam first. Okay. So, first thing that we see, bunch of Magnum condom wrappers lying on the ground. And that's the calling card of old Big Dick Adam. You just know that Adam's going to be involved somehow because apparently his dick is humongous, according to everyone in this show. And they're in bed. Hannah and Adam are watching like videos of him as a child.
They're watching on a projector projected up to the ceiling, like a film reel of like him as a kid, like childhood, like home videos.
Yeah, and it's very hipster romantic.
The contrast of the Magnum condoms, the like cinnamon flavored peanut butter that's like on the ground, like, and then them just in bed watching family videos of him when he was like 10 or 11. It's just so...
It's very bizarre.
Yeah.
So they're flipping through, and it's like nice little childhood memories. And then Hannah's like, wow, you look like an amazing kid. And he's like, I was an amazing kid. And then she says, could you fly?
And he goes, what? These are spot on Adam impersonations.
Yeah.
What?
And she's like, could you fly? He's like, no, could you? And she's like, no, but I just have never seen a kid with ears that big or some shit. It's like a Dumbo reference. Yeah. It was a terrible line.
Yeah, but it came too close to on the heels of him having big ears mentioned before, I felt. Like in the last episode, I think they mentioned the big ears thing. Oh, like she said that was his defining quality.
Yeah,
so she really like harps on that.
Yeah, that's the only thing she knows about him until
which is weird
now.
Because he doesn't harp on her physicality at all, which is interesting. You know? Like he doesn't actually like...
I don't know. He doesn't. He just kind of is like, you are who you are, and I like you as you are. Because I was thinking back to when like they were on the bed and he was like tickling her fat.
Yeah.
And she was like, don't tickle my fat. And he's like, why?
Yeah, like it was her hang up, not his hang up.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to have a hang up about it, which is very progressive.
But I can't. It's progressive, but I'm not gonna full defend Adam now.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna full defend Adam at all.
Adam is officially a weirdo, as the title suggests.
Yeah.
But we do have to say that this scene of them hanging out and like he starts getting on top of her after she says that line, and then they start having sex, and that's intercut with. We'll have to say this is intercut with Marnie in the other room.
Marnie's in the other room, Facebook stalking Charlie and his new girlfriend.
Classic sweatshirt, sweatpants look.
Giant T-shirt. Where did you even get that giant T-shirt? Charlie's not that big.
It's definitely not Charlie.
It's like her dad's shirt or something, which is even creepier.
But she's like Facebook stalking what's Charlie, and this is going on while you're hearing awful dirty talk and sex from the other room.
They're banging so loudly, and Adam is like, would you fuck 4-year-old me?
Yeah, I bet you had trouble. You were slow learner to walk or something.
Yeah,
and it's just like the worst.
It was very bizarre.
Yeah,
and Marnie just starts slamming her door because she's pissed.
Yeah. That
she's lonely because she broke up with her awesome boyfriend. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah. And this is pre AirPods, you know, so she didn't have
noise canceling Bose or anything. No. She's just there taking it, just taking it like Hannah's taking it. She's taking it in the ear though.
I don't know which one's worse.
Yeah, it was bad. Yeah. That dirty talk was cringeworthy.
Yeah.
And then so that's the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
And then next thing you see is Hannah and Adam running in the middle of the street.
Which is, I know you made a comment when we were watching, like, the middle of the street, but the middle of the street in Brooklyn at that time, there's plenty of those streets that were like that.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Like, because they're definitely off. Like, if you're in Kent or, like, there's some streets that are just, like, there's not going to be a ton of traffic.
Yeah.
Even if you go deep Greenpoint around those areas, like, there's major streets, but, like, whatever.
Yeah. But
no, you can do it. It's fine. Whatever. You can't harp on that.
I'm harping on it.
You're gonna harp. That's what
I'm
broke it.
I'm harping on it. Yeah, I'm harping on it. It was one of those things that was like, we're doing this because it looks more cinematic, and I was like, yeah.
And I didn't have a problem with it. Yeah. I did have a problem with her giving up on the run, throwing her shoes off, and then lying in the middle of the street.
Yeah, that was really tantrumy. Yeah. So Adam is like trying to motivate her to run. Because he wants her to get like a runner's high, I guess. Yeah. And he's just like, come on, you just have to get to your threshold and push past it.
Yeah.
And she stopped for a second. And he's like, come on, let's go. High five me. Yeah. And she's like, you're like 10 feet away.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's fine.
Yeah.
And so she starts running. She high fives him. And he's like, all right, let's keep going. And then she's like, no.
I thought she was going to keep going too. It looked like, okay, he's going to motivate her to like just, and like, I don't care if she loses weight or gets in shape or whatever in the show, but it's like, oh, they're at least doing something.
Yeah.
They're actually being a couple
apartment.
And outside of,
Yeah.
Because this opening scene is obviously in Marnie and Hannah's apartment, which is like the first time we've ever seen him there. And so that's a big growth step.
Oh wait, we also skipped the part where Adam is giving Marnie advice.
No, that happens later.
That does?
Yeah, it happens after that.
Oh, that's after the run. You're right. So they're running. Hannah sits down on the ground. She's like, no, I'm not running any further. And she takes off her shoes and throws them. And Adam is just like, what the fuck is up with you?
But she did.
You're only 3 blocks away from your apartment. So yeah, then they're walking back to her apartment.
Well, they go back and like there's an ice cream truck out front. And
Yeah,
he tells her that he doesn't like ice cream because it's like
sugary mucus or something.
Yeah, sugary mucus.
Which
is an interesting thing to say when we find out what he was doing in like a later scene.
Oh yeah.
So it was so yeah, like there's a little banner. He goes up to the ice cream guy. He's like, "Oh, she'll show you her tits for some ice cream." And he's like, "No, I won't." He's like, "Yeah, she will. Whatever, I got money on me."
Yeah, because she was concerned. She was like, "Well, do you have any money?" And he's like, "No, I'm not even wearing underwear." And she's like, "I'm not wearing underwear either."
I'm not wearing underwear either.
And he's like, well, then, all right, we'll just go up to her. And he's like, hey, she wants some ice cream. She'll show you your tits. Yeah. And then she's like, no, I will not. And he's like, yeah, you will.
Yeah. And, like, I love how she's like, that's just Adam.
Yeah. Like, but then it turns out Adam has money. He's not a bad person
I feel bad
yet.
for the ice cream guy getting that money from his shorts.
Right? It had to smell like ball sweat.
Oh, man.
His running shorts.
That guy handles ice cream. Give it to kids. Anyway.
Yeah, so then they're eating ice cream back at their apartment. And Adam, for some reason, is naked. Or he has his shorts pulled down to his under.
No, well, he's there.
Ankles.
They're in the kitchen, but it's all close up, so you don't know where they are, and they're eating ice cream together. And there's a little food ice cream.
Yeah, that was actually kind of romantic. It didn't bother me.
No, it was pretty simple.
They weren't eating
They
like
didn't go
slobs.
crazy. It wasn't all over their faces or anything.
Yeah, Adam hated it.
Yeah. But then he's like, "Oh, I gotta get out of this," and he like pulls his pants. He pulls his shorts down. Like you see him motion to pull his shorts down, but you don't see like a wide shot of it. And then Marnie comes out of the room, and then you go to the wide shot, and you just see an Adam's butt and her on the counter, and you're like, "Oh, okay."
That's weird.
They're in the kitchen.
Yeah, Marnie's like, hello.
And now my theory of Marnie hooking up with Adam just keeps falling.
Yeah.
Keeps falling down. I don't know how
I don't
it's
think
going to
it's
happen.
going to happen. I don't know. Hey, man, I don't know.
Maybe it could, though.
I don't remember what my conspiracy was about this, or my theory.
It's not
But
happening.
it's definitely not happening.
Yeah.
It was like, Adam's going to fuck Shoshana or something.
Yeah, something awful.
Yeah, it was real stupid. So then Marnie comes out of her room and she's like, I can't believe that Charlie took, I already forgot his new girlfriend, Audrey's. I can't believe he took Audrey to Rome. We dated for 4 years and blah, blah, blah. And I just can't believe that he's not the guy that I'm going to end up with. And Hannah's like, well, it's not like you thought that you were going to end up with him anyway. And Adam is like, hey.
He was like, don't minimize
her pain, basically. And I was like, whoa, Adam.
Yeah.
And then
it's so weird when he tries to be a human.
Yeah. Because it's like the stuff that he says is kind of sound advice.
Yeah.
Like when he's talking to Marnie, he gives her sound advice about like, you need to find what makes you happy and like, don't dwell on this Charlie thing. Yeah. And it's like, wow. But he just looks like he looks past her.
It's like he's just like social, like, I don't know, like he's something just super off about him. Yeah. And his performance portrays that. But then he says these things, you're like, oh, so he gets the world.
Yeah,
he understands.
Yeah, he understands like the key to happiness in his mind, and he's like, what he's saying on paper makes absolute sense. But the way that he's delivering it is so bizarre that you're like, what's wrong with you? So he's like, well, you have to find what makes you happy, because this obviously isn't making you happy, and you shouldn't dwell on it. And he tells a story about how when he broke up with his college girlfriend, he had a tough time at it, and he was like, I changed majors. I found what I really loved. I got a circle saw or whatever he said.
Circle saw.
And he's like, and then I felt better.
Yeah.
And he goes, so what makes you happy? And Marnie's like, reading. And he just like laughs in her face.
which is funny, but then I'm thinking the last episode when whatever that girl was that opened the Corona bottle, she's like, oh yeah, reading is something that he says Adam loves to read.
And his love of books.
Yeah, his love of books. But he looked at her when Marnie says reading as if he never...
Yeah,
like he's never
as if that can't be your key to happiness at all.
Yeah. Well, at that point, I feel like he goes, lost cause. I'm moving on. Yeah. Like, I'm not even going to engage. If you can't even figure that out or have
I wonder if he realizes that Marnie thinks he's just like the weirdest person ever.
Oh, I think so, but he doesn't care.
Yeah.
That wouldn't affect him.
Yeah, I think that
Yeah.
it maybe was a little bit of like, this girl doesn't respect me and I'm trying to help her.
Yeah, I just
what
felt
I
like
mean?
he was like, well, she's at reading. She still needs to figure out what makes her happy. I can't.
And
like,
he's not wrong.
Yeah, it's
He's
like
not wrong.
he can't do any more in that conversation. So I
Yeah.
think when he realizes that, he just shuts down.
Yeah. And when he said that about like what makes you happy, you realize like Marnie's defining trait is just being Charlie's girlfriend.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't even seen like more. I don't even know why she works at the art gallery, if she even likes that.
Yeah, I don't know what she does or who she is.
Yeah.
She's just the uptight one, as
Yes,
as
she
you.
is.
Anyway, so then Adam and Hannah are walking, and Adam is in a play or something.
Yeah, he's got a tech rehearsal.
He's got a tech run of this play that he's in / wrote / is directing.
Yeah, it looked like it was going to be a one-man show.
That's what I
but
thought it
it's
was going to be.
Not. I think he co-wrote it with this actor that I really like. I like his performance in this show on Adult Swim that I just got into somewhat recently. Your Pretty Face Is Going to Hell.
Oh,
And
I remember
it's
that
from
show.
the guys that did Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Yeah.
And this guy's Henry Zablowski, I think his name is, or whatever. He's like a UCB comedian, comic actor. And I was like, oh, that's him when he showed up. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, cool. I like that guy.
But before he shows up, Adam's doing like a monologue about being in 6th grade and jerking his wiener off.
Being
And
tall and 12. Like
It's
being
just so
6'2".
weird.
Yeah.
And he's talking about how he wants to look at the prettiest girl in class, and she had this pencil. And then he's like, and then flash forward a couple years later, and I'm fucking her on the lawn, and I just keep thinking about her pencil as I'm fucking her. And he's like miming having sex with her.
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere, he just goes, and I don't know where to go from there. Let's skip to the canoe part. It's like he didn't finish writing that scene
Yeah.
of fucking his crush or whatever.
Yeah. And at this, you're seeing that scene and you're like, oh, that is 100% Adam.
Yeah.
That is his truth.
Yeah.
And doesn't make me like him anymore.
No.
It's just like, dude, you are 100% weird.
Yeah, and Hannah's watching it like she's into it, but then it's kind of like she's not into it.
Well, what she brings up later, it kind of gets into almost the whole aspect of this whole show. And it's
Yeah.
like, I feel like Lena Dunham is talking about herself through Adam when she motivates him later. So with the rest of the scene, they do the canoe scene, and it's just a black box theater, so it's just 2 chairs, face to the side, and like the guy, I don't even know the guy's character's name.
Yeah, I forget it.
He's the guy Henry, the actor Henry. He's in the back, and then Adam's in the front, and they're just canoeing and
Miming canoeing.
and they're not really saying anything.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I kind of missed exactly what it was. Like,
Yeah, I don't know where this came from.
it was like Henry started like rapping almost. Or
He was
doing
like, hey, yo, this is the coolest Boy Scout camp in the fucking world, man. And he's talking with this like weird accent.
and Adam turns back like, no, well, like, what are we doing?
Yeah, and like even here, I was like, wow, Adam is giving sound advice. He's like,
Yeah.
you can't do that. Like, that's
Yeah.
a cheap joke and it's not good.
Yeah.
And he's like, whatever you had before was better. It had
Yeah.
pathos,
Yeah.
it had feeling, it had art in it. And he's like, so let's just stick with that.
And then Henry's like, you know what? You're right. You keep me honest.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is kind of cool because it's shot from the back, so you can see Lena Dunham in the background of it.
Yeah.
While they're talking to each other. And I'm like, this is interesting. You get to see Adam like,
Yeah, even though Adam's play is really weird or whatever,
Yeah.
it has truth and all this shit, and it's like, this is a feeling, this is art, and this is our expression, and like, don't cheapen it.
yeah, it's like if you like a Lynch film or something.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you'd
yeah.
be like, oh man, that guy did some weird stuff, but at least like he's coming from somewhere with
Yeah.
it. Like there is like thought behind the weirdness of it all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere, Adam just quits the play.
Yeah. I was like, he just agreed to do what you just said. He's like, yeah.
He's like, you're an inspiration, basically. And then
yeah.
he's like, you know what? Fuck this play.
Yeah. Like,
Just like a second later.
oh, and it was like, come on, Adam, you are like,
And
just
well, then the we'll just call him Henry. That's his name, right? The red-haired beard guy.
Yeah.
He's like, Adam, please don't quit. Like, I invested money in this. Like, I spent $2,000 and I can't get that back. Yeah. And Adam is like, well, I invested my time and I can't get that back either. So we're even. And I was like, whoa, dude.
Yeah, I was like, there's a lot of reasons to not like Adam. And like, this one is big.
Well, then he talks about like, after they leave, Hannah's like, why did you just quit? Like, that was so bizarre. And he's like, well, it's fucking people, man. They're flaky and they always fuck with the shit that you're working on. And it's like, but you're doing that.
Yeah.
You're like leaving this guy out to dry, man.
And like, the guy agreed with you. It wasn't like the guy was like, no, let's do it this way. And you had it.
It wasn't a tiff. It was like a tiff. It wasn't a tiff. It was like, a note was given, and he was like, you know what?
Roommate's name. That's why he made that aside, if you don't know.
Yeah. Check him out on Spotify at a Tiff Myers. But anyway, it was like, he agreed, and he was like, they didn't even have a chance to run it a different way before Adam quit.
Yeah.
He was...
And they're up in 2 weeks, they say. Like, they're coming up in 2 weeks.
So, that was very weird.
Yeah, and it was like, man.
It felt a little forced.
That felt a little forced, and I'm going to say the thing that happens later with...
So they're walking down the street, and
Marnie.
Adam is... Adam and Hannah are walking down the street, and Adam's trying to explain, like, why he quit. Mm-hmm. And Hannah's like, you shouldn't quit. And then out of nowhere, he almost gets hit by a car.
Mm-hmm.
He's
most likely his fault.
Yeah, he wasn't looking in the crosswalk. And then he just freaks the fuck out on the car. Mm-hmm. He just starts yelling all kinds of... Fucking,
it's intense. He's an intense dude. Because he's a big guy too.
Yeah,
and he's
like, I'm walking with a woman.
Yeah,
and then he just is vulgarity,
like, slamming on the hood of the car, and like then he walks off, and like Hannah's like, oh god, okay, and she's like running after him.
I feel like over the course of this episode, you see Hannah being like, man, I really do not want this guy as my boyfriend.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's like, she's been wanting this for so long, and now the reality of it is setting in, and it's like...
I thought this episode was going to be the episode where it was like, and they break up. It's going to be like the Marnie with Charlie, where she goes and tries to get him back. She does, and then she goes, no, I don't want to.
Never mind.
Never mind.
Never mind.
No one made a mistake.
Yeah.
But no, like, so then she goes to his place after that, and he's like, let's not go outside the rest of the day. And she's like, that's good.
Yeah, that's a good idea. It's very bad when we go outside. So he's like, so what do you want to do now? Like, he's trying to like have sex with her, and she's like, I just want to take a shower.
He's like, oh.
Okay.
And I was just like, why would you get naked in this guy's place?
Yeah, right.
Like,
especially after that.
The shower's not a safe place from Adam.
No, it is not, and you're about to find out.
To find out how unsafe it is.
Yeah, so she's taking a shower with her eyes closed. She goes head first, face first into the water, and then she turns around, and Adam is just in the shower with her, standing creepily, looking creepily.
Yeah, he's got that look, like head down, look up for the eyes, like horror look to his face.
And Hannah opens her eyes and screams bloody murder, as you would expect.
I don't know why she was shocked he wasn't just following her in there immediately.
Well, I don't know how she didn't hear him. Yeah. I don't know how she didn't hear him open a door, probably open a shower curtain, and then step in. You can hear people's footsteps.
No, he is light,
he's
like
stealth.
A cat.
Yeah, he's fucking... So yeah, he like gives her soap, and she's like, thank you. And then he gives her shampoo or whatever, and he goes, it's for your split ends.
He doesn't give her shampoo as much as slaps a glob of it on her forehead.
That's true. That was pretty
giant
funny.
Paws.
That was pretty funny.
It's just like, it's for your split ends.
Thanks, Adam. She's not having a good time with him in the shower. And then there's a lingering shot on Adam's face, and you just see him laughing, and you're like, and she's like, what's so funny?
And then you hear another stream of water.
And then Hannah looks down to realize that Adam is peeing on her.
And laughing.
Laughing super hard about it. And Hannah's like, fucking stop peeing on me. And he's like, why? It's funny. And she's like, no, it's fucking not. Don't do this. This is bullshit. And he's like, what? It's just pee. It's sterile.
Yeah.
And then,
Oh my god.
and then so she's just freaking out. There is a shower curtain because she slides open the shower curtain.
Oh yeah, you hear when she gets in too. It's a noise.
So she slides open, she gets out of the shower, and he's like, "Why are you getting out?" And she's like, "'Cause you're peeing on me." And he goes, "Wait, that'd be the worst time to get out because now you got pee all over you."
Yeah. The way he says that so matter of fact is funny.
Yeah.
It's done comedically.
Because he was like, the whole time he was peeing on her, he's like, "It's sterile. People use it to like their wounds or something, heal wounds." And then
he goes lots of people, and she's like,
really lots of people. And it's funny because he was like defending peeing on her as like a healthy thing and like a sterile thing. And then she gets out and he's like, "Well, you got pee all over you. You don't want to be out in the world."
That's the worst time to get out of the shower. You pee all over you. And it's like the funniest. I mean, that line is funny.
It's funny, but also terrible.
God,
what a terrible human being.
When he started peeing on her, I was like, oh, this is her breaking point, right?
Yeah, right? That's when I thought she was going to be like, "Fuck you, Adam, I'm out."
Yeah. No, she's just sitting on a couch in onesies as he's making dinner.
Yeah.
They're both wearing like white onesies.
So awful.
Like, where?
I don't even know what they're eating. It just looks like
he's
mush.
Just stirring up a pot of something.
It just looks like a bowl of yogurt that he just like plopped in there. It's like plop. And she's like, "Why is there a hole in the crotch?" She's like, "So you can pee out of it."
And she like rolls her eyes. I'm like, yeah, that's very soon. Not too soon. It's happened. Just like, yeah. And like, why? And you didn't leave? You didn't go home after being peed on? Nope. Stuck around,
eating his food, whatever.
Yeah. So they're on the couch and she kind of talks them. I don't remember exactly everything she says, but she's talking to him and like trying to convince him that he should go back and do the play. And she's like, she does mention something about like I like the honesty of like you doing something that's like strange and weird, but not poking fun at the character of that person that's weird. And she's like, "Oh, but what about him when he said that line?" And she's like, "I wasn't focused on him. I was focused on you."
Yeah.
And
she's like, "It made me want to go back and kiss 15-year-old you."
Yeah. And for me, I felt like that was Lena Dunham through Adam Driver talking about her own process and writing and her stuff. Like, because she does this show and like there's a lot of weirdness of her character and stuff. And that she's like, "Oh, it's earnest because I'm just projecting what I'm like. But I'm not." Somebody else like would make that and be poking fun at that person. Yeah. And this one's actually showing like, oh, this is a real person. This is what they feel. And this is what the process was. Yeah. Which I think stories like that are interesting. Like, we need to know that there's someone in your class that is thinking like that and obsessing over that pencil thing and like just weird point of views. That's why Adam's so engaging, because it's like no one would do that. But there are some people that are like that. And people like that are straight. Like, I don't know if you want to be around that person all the time, but you are interested.
There's something to be said about the freeness of his character of like, there are people that are like, "Man, I wish I could say like shit like whatever's on my mind." And Adam does do that. Yeah. And he's very much his own character. He lives in his own world, and he's like, "This is who I am, and I'm unapologetic, and I'll just say whatever I think. Yeah. I'll do whatever I want." And and there's some like people seeing that and being like, "Wow, I wish I could be like that." Yeah. But then you get to the downsides of it where it's just like pissing on people, and they're like saying, "Stop doing that." And he's like, "Why? Who cares?"
Yeah. Well, he's the antithesis of Marnie. Like, Marnie's so uptight that she can't do like anything. And if she tries to do anything wild, she doesn't know how to do anything wild. So she goes like awkwardly extreme with her wildness. And like he like does weird stuff and he'll like deal with the consequences later.
When Marnie goes extreme and free and weird, it's inauthentic.
Yeah, inauthentic.
Adam is authentically weird.
Yeah.
And
like, he says that he thought that Hannah would think it was funny when he peed on her. Yeah. And I think he believed that. Yeah. Like, that's the thing. That's the difference. It's like peeing on her to be like, haha, let's see what I can get away with, versus, oh, I thought she'd really find it funny. Yeah. Don't know why he thought she would find it funny. But I can't argue that. But I think he himself believed that she would.
Yeah. So they're kind of like just eating together in silence at this point, and they're just like, okay, well, I'm stuck with this guy now. Like, I chose him as my boyfriend, and like, he's whatever. And he's not really happy about the situation that he's in, I feel like. You know?
What do you mean, relationship-wise?
Well, I feel like he's now realizing, like, oh, this is my girlfriend. She's going to kind of nag me about, like, stuff that I should do.
No, but she convinces him that he should do the play. And he's like, that's a good
Yeah, he's like,
compromise.
maybe I'll use a pseudonym.
I'll use a pseudonym. I'll be Ben Franklin.
Yeah.
And I'll take away some of my best lines. That's a good compromise, right? Yeah.
I don't know
that's a
why
good
that would be a
compromise.
good compromise. The best lines thing. The pseudonym.
Because he said, I'd rather do nothing at all than to have one thing that's mediocre.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is not a great way to have anything.
Well, I mean, you're not going to be the best at anything right from the get-go.
Yeah,
you know?
It's better to have a bunch of different things.
But you should.
It's better to have something than nothing.
You should only.
You should strive for greatness.
Do stuff that you're proud of.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
like this podcast is so great.
This is everything.
But
no, it's just like that thought process is what his process has probably been. He's probably quit so many things because it got to a point where either it's difficult or he was like, oh, this won't be the best thing ever, so I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
When the process of doing it is where you can get better if you don't do it. So.
Exactly. And I think that's what Hannah's trying to tell him.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, she's
at a certain point.
Yeah. So they get to that, and like she has the point, and he goes like, I guess I can make that compromise. I'll talk to him. I'm like, great.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next time we see them, she's like asleep in bed. And he like, hey kid, wake up. I gotta show you something.
He's like, hey.
And
he just kind of doesn't wake
like
up, and then he just goes, hi.
Yeah.
And she wakes up. And he's like, come with me, kid.
And then she does not put on clothes. She goes walking in the street
with that
in
fucking
a onesie.
awful onesie.
And he is wearing jeans and a t-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
And they go around the corner, and he is plastered up all these like sorry, these like basically printed out sorry in like black background, white font, like the like almost the Rent logo,
like stencil.
Yeah, like a stencil thing. And it's like he's plastered up on this like empty wall, and like it's a bunch of them. He's just been putting up there, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry about the yelling at that car.
Yeah.
And unless that car drives by again, I'm just gonna feel shitty for the rest of my life about it. But this is what I'm gonna do. So this is why I wrote this. And he's not apologizing again for the peeing because he did apologize, but not really.
Yeah, it was a non-apology.
But then he's apologizing about the car thing. So I don't know if he's doing it because he truly feels sorry about it, or he knows that he needs to do it to make her feel better.
I think the latter.
Yeah.
I don't think that he's really sorry about it.
Yeah.
I think that he saw that it upset Hannah, and he feels bad about upsetting Hannah.
And I wonder if like seeing things upset Hannah will stop him from doing the weird stuff, or is he just going to continue doing it? That's the thing that the
remains
show
to be seen.
Yeah.
Remains to be seen, Vance.
The last episode is
There's
him in a
6
business
seasons.
suit, just like going to his corporate job on Wall Street and just being like, yeah, just had to change.
Hannah
colors.
really changed my life.
Yeah. He's all buttoned up.
And that's basically the end of the Hannah and Adam arc.
And like what we said when we started this podcast, I have no idea what to feel. Like there's so many. Like after Peter, I was like, get out.
Yeah, I was like, Adam's an asshole.
He quit in front of that guy and like did that. I was like, man, I knew he was like a creepster, but like he wasn't like a bad person all the time. Like, yeah, especially after the last episode, we realized like she's been using him a lot.
Yeah,
but now it's just like no, like she's been using you, but like someone's going to, because like
this is just
I don't know.
It's the most toxic relationship ever.
Yeah, it's
so bad. Dude.
But like I said in an earlier pod, I think the two of them staying together saves the rest of the world from being with either one of them. That's what.
But that's exposed to both of them.
Yeah, just keep that crazy. Get two crazy people together and keep them together, as opposed to spreading the crazy 50-50 out into the real world. That's what I think
there is some merit in that.
Yeah.
All right. On to Marnie and Jessa.
Marnie and Jessa, the tag team that we've all been waiting for.
That no one's been waiting for.
Oh, man. So Marnie's been looking at Facebook stalking Charlie, and Charlie's gone to Rome with Audrey.
Mm-hmm.
And she just can't believe that Charlie's living a life.
Mm-hmm. And so we pretty much recapped all the, because there was some interaction with Hannah and Marnie. Yeah. So we can skip to the part.
Yeah. Then because then she stole Facebook stalking on the
still
couch.
Facebook stalking. This is after Adam gave her some pretty sound advice about like you need to find what makes you happy.
Yeah. Taking advice from Adam is always a tricky.
Yeah, it's always an interesting path to go down. So she kind of basically ignores that advice for the time being, and is Facebook stalking Charlie still on the couch and like feeling sorry for herself and being like, fuck her, fucking blah 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 blah. And then Jessa bangs on the door and she's screaming about how her thighs are on fire.
Yeah, apparently her thighs are chafed because it's summertime and she's been walking a long way. Because I have no idea where they live.
Yeah, I don't know. They live in Williamsburg.
The Shoshana and Jessa?
Oh, that's true. I don't know where Shoshana.
I don't know how far. Anyway, thighs are burning, like chafed up from walking, hot, whatever. And then she comes in and Marnie and Jessa basically start talking about Hannah and Adam because Jessa came over to hang out with Hannah and Hannah's gone. Yeah,
Hannah's dipped out. Yeah. Marnie's basically like, well, she's a flake and she's always been a flake. And now that she's got this guy, she's never going to be around.
Dude,
I was like, God damn, dude.
Marnie talks down about Hannah whenever she's not in the room.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like she could have dinner with Hannah. Hannah could go to the bathroom, and she would just start texting someone about how bad Hannah is.
Dude, it was rough. Like, brutal, character assassination.
And she's done it in multiple episodes.
Yeah. The last episode, she was like, she's the selfish when everybody knows she's selfish and she's terrible.
I'm like, geez. Like, are you, like...
And now she's like, she's a flake, and she's got this weird boyfriend.
I know some people have some toxic friend relationships, but, like... Hannah's supposed to be your, like...
Yeah, that's your best friend. That's your roommate.
And you just hate her.
Yeah. Well, Jessa is like, so what's the deal with her boyfriend anyway?
Is he like a complete...
weirdo?
Or is there something beneath it?
Yeah. And Marnie's basically like, well, I mean, he's not nice.
Yeah.
But he's definitely weird.
And I'm like, she nailed it.
Yeah, she can't argue with that. I mean, that's...
definitely... And then she tells the story of... going to getting up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, and he's in there and he's taking a dump while drinking a glass of milk
at the same time, and he's staring at her.
Yeah, it didn't look away or anything, just stared at me.
That's so weird. Like, I know Adam's weird, but that's just too much.
But then Jessica goes, he's like the kind of guy that would masturbate in front of anyone.
Yeah.
And you're just like, yeah, you guys have nailed it.
He did do that.
Yeah, and he
to Hannah.
And then he pantomimes that on the stage, on the play.
Yeah.
Which we've seen, like, the scene before that or the next scene.
Yeah. Then both of them are talking.
The thing about drinking the milk was interesting, because I was like, you just talked about not liking ice cream.
Yes.
And you're just drinking a glass of milk on the...
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But then, Jessa gets in on the talking shit about Hannah game, and she's trashing her, too. Like, they're both trashing Hannah, dude.
I just picture Lena Dunham writing it, and like, why?
Yeah, dude.
Why
There's some, hard shit in there. She's like, when she goes out, and she puts on a really pretty dress, and she really does her hair up nice, and she's all put together, except for her fucking forehead is shiny. And both of them are like, yes, why is her forehead so shiny? It's like, you've already gone this far, why don't you go the extra step to make yourself look presentable? And I was like, well, that is so specific. That is real.
Yeah, that's not like, sometimes she just doesn't go full out when she makes makeup. No, they're like, this flaw right here. Yeah. And then Jessa says something about Marnie, because Marnie does look decent in this scene. Like, she's she's not very made up. She's very...
honestly,
it's very plain makeup.
I think that she looks good in these pajama situation better than that fucking dress that she was wearing at the party the last
or even at the bar later in this episode.
Yeah, she looked so just laid back, gorgeous.
Because she's got makeup on, but it's very just subtle makeup. It's not like I'm going out or I'm having a business meeting makeup.
The reality of the situation is she spent 4 hours in makeup to achieve this look.
To look like she's not to look flawless.
But she looks great.
Yeah. We're just saying you don't need to go 5 hours in makeup.
Yeah. But Jessa makes a comment like, wow, you look so gorgeous right now.
Yeah.
Like a young Brooke Shields or whatever. And Marnie's just kind of like, stop.
Marnie goes, this is the worst I've ever felt.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
And then they just cut away from that.
So then they cut back to them, and they're Facebook stalking Charlie's new girlfriend.
Yeah.
And Jess is basically like, this girl has nothing on you. You are stunning. I think this is when she says, you look like a young Brooke Shields kind of thing. Yeah. And she's like, you don't even need to worry about this girl. Yeah. And Marnie's just like, you don't need to do this.
Yeah.
Like,
I thought she was going to say something else after this.
This is weird.
When she says, you don't have to do this, I know we're not friends.
Yeah.
And I thought she was like, you don't need to do this because this is what everyone does when someone breaks up. Is go through the list and be like, that other person's not as good as you.
Yeah.
I thought she was going to mention that, but she goes, oh, but we're not really friends.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. Because I'm still...
You don't need to pretend that we're friends.
Which is interesting to me because I'm still trying to figure out all four of their relationships of the girls. And I thought Jessa was both of their friends.
I thought so too. I don't know how Jessa fits into this at all.
And it seems like she's Hannah's friend and Marnie's friend by proxy. She's like, oh, we've known each other for 6 years and you know my name for 3.
Yeah, that was brutal. And it was very Jessa.
What? I don't feel any sympathy to that because she'd never been to Charlie's place and they dated for 4 years.
That's true.
So
that's true.
No, but that was one of those things where I'm like, okay, and Jess was like, no, I really respect you. And she says it in a way where I think she's actually being earnest. I don't think she's like making...
I have the same problem that Jessa does, I think, because I didn't believe anything that she said. She has just like this tone of voice where it doesn't sound sincere.
Yeah, everything she says sounds sarcastic, but you have to like look at her eyes when she does it. Because I realize what Jessa has. Jessa has like a very sleepy look to her.
Yeah.
But like when she's saying it, it seems earnest. Like because she does have a little more wink to her when she like is.
Honestly, when you said you have to look into her eyes, I thought about what Jessa looks like, and I got mad. I just don't like this character. I like a feeling in the pit of my stomach just was like, man, fuck her, dude.
Sorry, okay, look at her forehead. Look at her non-shiny forehead.
Dude, that's so great. Just the thought of her, the image of her in my head just made me mad.
And she's not even that bad this episode.
She's pretty bad this episode.
There's things, okay. So
I mean, like, bad things are happening, but she's not good.
No, yeah.
She's not. I wouldn't even say that she's the best person in this episode. You know what? Everybody's trash in this episode.
I think I would have to rate her as the best person in this episode.
You know what?
That is what I'm going to say. I'm going to pull it. Jess is the best person in this episode. I can't champion Hannah not leaving the apartment after being peed on.
I'm thinking that Marnie's the best person in this episode.
Well, let's go on. And
we're going to go on. So Marnie says something about how Jessa thinks that she's the uptight one. And she's like, yeah, you are the uptight one. Yeah. And she's like, well, you know how bad that makes me feel in my head to be the uptight one?
Yeah, I hate being in my head and like having to deal with this 24/7.
And then Jessa's like, so why don't you just be free? Just fucking let go.
She's like, why don't you get out of there? Get out of your head for a minute. And I'm like, yeah, Jessa.
Yeah.
Jessa, this is your point. You're the party girl.
That's what I was like.
You're supposed to bring people into the party.
Exactly. That's what I was like, oh, this is the purpose of Jessa's character.
Yes, it is.
This is why she's here. Because most of the show, I'm like, I don't even know why they hang out with her. I don't know what this character's point is. But now, when she said that, I was like, okay, now I am seeing why Jessa's here. And then so...
Can I bring up a point that we haven't brought up yet?
Go for it.
I thought you were going to be like, no, move along. We keep moving along. No, there's something that they kind of brushed over. She comes in, and the reason that she was coming to talk to Hannah is for Hannah to comfort her because she just lost her job.
Oh, right. Yes.
So there's like a throwaway line dealing with what happened at the end of last episode.
I completely just blew past that.
Yeah, they kind of blew past it.
What a good catch, Vance. Vance, I'm glad I didn't deny you.
I'd be like, okay, I'll bring this up 2 episodes from now. We'll figure it out. You remember in season 1, episode 8? No, but he comes in and she just says that. And I'm like, wait, we're not going to get any...
This is just like the abortion thing?
Yeah, like we're just not going to have her go back to work and the awkwardness with the mom and the dad. Is that just over after that party scene? Like, was it a casting thing where you couldn't peep? Like, is it going to come back? Because she's like, I just lost my job. And I'm like,
Yeah, the kids fired her, not the dad, because she works for the kids.
She works with the kids. Yeah, she works with the kids.
We were never friends.
You work for my kids.
You work for my kids. So the kids fired.
The kids fired. We don't want Jessa to lose us in the park when we run away again.
Oh God, I'm a trash person.
But but I was just like, okay, that I don't know if that's fully the end of that story, but if that's the end of that storyline, why?
Yeah.
Why did we set it all?
No follow up, nothing.
Why do we have her get this job? Just for,
to have that one 3-episode arc.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. So we'll see if something else comes of that.
Jessa is the worst written character, and Shoshana's not in like 6 of the 8 episodes that we did.
She's in the poster, damn it. All right, well, let's go. Let's move on. I just wanted to bring that up because they just kind of
that's so
one-lined it out.
I didn't catch that. I'm so glad that you caught that.
I caught it.
Yeah, I did not catch.
And I was like, really?
I was like,
I remember thinking like, really?
Because I heard her say that, and I was like, she lost her job. Where was she working? And then I just brain farted the rest of the episode.
Your hatred didn't let you see through that. You're like, Jessa don't work.
Yeah, it's like she just has never worked a day in her life. It sounded like one of the characters that's coming up in this episode.
Which is
so Jess is telling her that she needs to loosen up. So then the next time we see them, they're both at a bar, which doesn't seem like a place to like loosen up because it seemed like a stuffy bar,
very it was a cocktail bar. It was like very like it wasn't like, hey, let's just go to a place and mingle. They're sitting there drinking martinis and
it was like kind of high class.
It was as adult Marnie going out.
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, you need to go slumming like Jessa does.
Yeah.
Or like a little more a little more like there's people dancing on the floor. Like there's a dance
floor.
Go
to a dive bar or something.
Something that has more
fun.
And some energy.
Yeah.
Like that was places like, oh, we're going to sit and we're just going to talk and drink.
Oh, and what are they talking about? They're talking some more shit about Hannah.
What were they talking about?
They were talking about how she has small boobs. Yeah. She's like, she has really tiny titties.
And they're like, yeah, she does, doesn't she?
Yeah, I was like, God damn, Lena Dunham, self-hate much?
But I'm just like, okay, like, do girls go around talking about their other friends' boobs like that? You guys would have obviously known her boobs were small.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to, bringing that up, it's nothing.
Do you not talk shit about your guy friends? Like when you're out with another guy friend? I'll definitely talk some shit about it. I was doing it last night.
I might talk some shit about, like,
let's talk shit about you. Fucking Vance coming
I've definitely talked about you before. Everybody has to realize you are definitely being talked about by other people when you're not there.
Yeah.
The thing is not to harp and worry about what those people are saying when you're not around. Because that is something that you can't control, and it will just drive you insane.
Yeah, but I mean, like Jessa and okay,
if you're ever in a party and you leave a party,
hang on a second. So remember when Ray discovered Hannah writing in her diary about her relationship, and now Marnie just unloads on everyone about Hannah in public. Yeah. Hannah at least had the decency to write her like thoughts about Marnie and her relationship down
in her room,
in a book, in a private, what she thought was going to be a private place. Yeah. But Marnie's just broadcasts into the world like, fucking Hannah's got itty bitty titties and she's got this fucking awful forehead.
But like not things that you can't possibly see.
Yeah, and it's like, wow, dude.
But when she calls her selfish and all this other stuff, I will say this: Marnie's defense would be this. Is that it's being said and not written down to be captured forever.
That's bad defense. But
I'm just saying that's probably how she would defend it.
So they're drinking martinis at this stuffy bar, and then 2 more martinis get sent their way.
And it's so cheesily done. Like for you, the empty street thing was your thing. For me, it was like the 2 martinis come. And then instead of like the bartender saying, oh, these came from this person, he just sits them down. And then Jess was like, did we order 2 more?
And then it's like, I didn't.
And then he goes, that one. Like he points, the camera goes with his finger point. The guy in the suit over there did it.
And then it's like this, you first see this old, like gray-haired man in a gray suit.
Yeah.
And then Jess is like,
oh,
fancy. And then that guy gets up and leaves. And lo and behold, guess who's sitting behind him, also in a gray suit, and who is the sender of these martinis? Chris O'Dowd. Nice to see Chris O'Dowd.
Chris O'Dowd.
And Jessa is upset.
Crystal Dowd from Bridesmaids. And many others.
Wasn't the It Crowd? Yeah. Legend.
Yeah.
Great.
This is 40, which I didn't really like. But
yeah.
But that's also Judd Apatow.
You know what is great?
Judd
I just
Apatow.
love. He has such like a nice guy face where it's just like, hey, we're gonna have a good time and like I'll take care of you. And he seems like very.
He's got an everyman.
Yeah, he's got a.
He's very much more clean cut in this. He's like, like
he looks good.
He's
in a
like,
suit. He looks
like,
good.
He's shaved down on like he looks fine. He's in a suit sitting at the end of the bar. He doesn't look over at them when he sent it. You know, like he sent the drink. I don't know if I've ever bought a drink and sent it to a girl sitting somewhere else.
I've never bought a drink and sent it to anybody. And if I did, it'd be Mountain Dew Baja Blast, baby.
Well, you know what kind of, what they say, you attract more flies with honey than vinegar. What you attract with Baja Blast is a different quality.
Yeah, it'd be a toothless one. So then...
how'd you know this is my favorite? No, but like, so he sends over 2 martinis, which is a ballsy move in general, just because it's him.
Yeah.
Normally, you send one girl a drink, and it's like one-on-one, you like her. He just machine gunned that out.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't send
Shotgun
martinis.
blast is like, whoever it hits, it hits.
Like, hey, give every girl sitting at the bar martini and tell them it's from the guy in a gray suit. One of them might walk over and talk to me. Like, you know.
So Jess is not happy. Jess is not into Chris O'Dowd, but Marnie is
Which is
into
so
Chris O'Dowd.
interesting that she's not into him. Like,
yeah, I don't
that's
get
what
it.
I don't get. Like, she was into like the older like
salt and pepper guy.
But
he looked like old.
Yeah, which was the weirdest like fake out ever. Like,
Yeah.
like that guy in the gray bought you a drink.
Yeah.
You're like, what? Say the guy at the end of the bar with the like.
Yeah.
If I'm buying 2 martinis, I want full acknowledgement.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with like another guy in the bar.
Exactly. Could you imagine how pissed you would be if you bought drinks and then the bartender's like, it's from the guy at the end of the bar, and there's like 2 guys at the end of the bar, and you bought the drinks, and they start talking.
They walk past you and go to the
they start talking to the other guy. He's like, hey, what the fuck?
And then you got to be the guy like, no, I bought the drinks. Like, you're not going to win.
No, that's just a weak move.
Yeah.
Man. So Chris O'Dowd comes over, starts talking to him. Jess is not feeling. Jess is cock blocking hard because Marnie is into it.
Well, it's weird because I was like, when this happened, I was like, why is Jessica giving this guy like a hard, like, how is she judging this guy like so quickly?
Yeah, she
like,
gave him like a real hard
Like, she didn't
time.
judge that guy that she banged in that bathroom before the abortion. Like,
No.
She didn't give him a second look.
He gave her a cell phone to use to call her mom, and that's all it took.
Yeah.
This guy actually bought her a martini, and she's like, ugh, fuck this guy. Starts talking trash about him.
Together. And then, but Marnie is into it.
Yeah.
Which I thought I thought Jess was gonna take her out to meet people.
Oh, also, we skipped over a little part where Marnie says that she lost her virginity at 14 and Jess lost it at 17. Which, who cares?
Yeah.
I wrote it down because I thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
For some reason.
It was interesting that Marnie says, yeah, I got it over with. I didn't feel like I needed to do it for a while after that. And I was like, okay, that gets her personality is like she wants to like try new things, but just to say she did it, probably not like because like I don't know.
Whatever. I wish I didn't bring that up. So they're my bad, everybody.
Mr. Derail over here.
Yeah, I know.
Train is off the tracks. All
right. And so O'Dowd's macking on him, and Marnie's into it. Jess is not. And then O'Dowd's basically like, hey, why don't you guys come back to my place? I got this great bottle of red wine, and I'd love to have you guys back. And then Jess is kind of like, no. Yeah. And Marnie's like, no, we would love to come and do that. And then he goes... I'm going to go to the little boys' room. And that's when I went, oh.
You're like, this guy is weird.
Yeah.
It's like,
I was like, maybe Jess is right for once.
Exactly. And like, I'm like, how is Jess is reading this person? How is she so good at reading this person so quickly?
Yeah.
And like, Marnie's like, no, I want to do something. I forget what her argument was, but whatever.
Yeah. So then.
And I thought Jess was just going to bow out and would just be.
Yeah.
Marnie.
Why didn't Jessa just leave?
Yeah, because it's not like she's one of those people who are like, I don't leave my friends that I go with.
Oh,
your cousin was running around the street
on crack.
and you didn't care.
Yeah. So
like that's not in her character to be like, I don't trust this guy. I'm gonna go with you to his place.
exactly. And then cut to Marnie coming out of the bathroom at this guy's place. Great apartment, amazing apartment.
One of those
especially for
Williamsburg
New
high
York.
rises. One of those Williamsburg
Yeah,
high
right.
rise. No, that's like the new high rises. There were like,
Really?
yeah.
I'm so low class. I didn't even.
Oh, no,
I can't even imagine what that looks like.
No, I had some friends that lived in like there's that one near.
Brag a little more, Vince.
That's right. Just
Got friends
know
in
the
high
right people.
places.
Know the right people.
I got friends in low places.
No.
I do.
Anyway, so whatever. He's got a.
Come on, everybody.
So anyway, he's got a really nice, thick apartment, and we kind of follow her out of the bathroom, which is a great way to give us a way to see that, because all the action takes place in the living room, but this way you get to kind of see and pan in and reveal the place.
I'll give it. That was a great shot because you're looking at like, wow, this guy's loaded. This is a nice apartment. Like they scored.
And then
the last thing that they pan to is Chris O'Dowd DJing. Oh
yeah, he's got two
MacBooks.
Two MacBooks up, like elevated up, and he's got his headphones on, and he's DJing and doing mashups or mix-ups. Or
he's doing a mashup. He's a mashup DJ, and he's not exactly wearing his headphones. He's doing the douchey headphone thing where you're holding the one can to your ear
with the one off.
With the one off.
Yeah.
It's like there's no need.
And he's in his suit, and like he's just doing it, and like Jess is just sitting on this like rug, being like, "Oh, he decided to start DJing."
Yeah.
And he's like, "I know how girls are when they have to tinkle."
Yeah.
So he has little boy's room.
Tinkle.
And tinkle. So we're like, okay, this guy.
Yeah.
Lame.
Yeah.
And the mashup that he has is Still My Sunshine.
By Len, which is a great song.
Which is also being mixed with like kids like talking or something.
Yeah, it's like kids at a park playing.
Yeah.
And Jessa is looking at him, and then she looks at Marnie like, I fucking told you.
And I was like, all right, Jessa was right. Jessa knows how to read guys at a bar instantly.
Yeah, man, it was brutal.
Yeah. And I just look like, I've never seen Jessa look at someone with more hate. Not even the crusty guy she almost killed.
Punks, yeah.
Not even killed last
God, she almost killed.
But she's looking at this guy with such disdain. She's like, he's a venture capitalist. I don't even know what that is.
Yeah. So they're sitting there for a while, and then he's like, here's another one of my tracks. And then Jessa just
It's something with like
down.
monkeys.
It's
Monkeys and chimpanzees. Like dude is weird.
It's
like just
awful.
a weird guy.
Yeah. And then so Jessa just lays down. And she's like, can I have some more of this wine, please? So she's laying down on the floor. Then Marnie just lays down. And then Chris O'Dowd sees them both laying on the ground. He's like, I guess I'll join you guys. Yeah. So he gets down on the ground. He's laying next to them. And then he says...
lying next to them?
Whatever. I told you, I'm not high class, man. So I don't know the difference between lay and lie. So he's... God. And then he gives the line of Marnie looks like a young Brooke Shields.
So that was a callback to that? Okay.
Callback. And then he says that Jessa looks like somebody else. I don't remember.
Man, I wish I wrote it down. It was a reference I don't think I quite got.
Oh, but before that, when she asked for more wine, he goes, please, sir, could I have some more? And he's like, like Oliver Twist, you know that? English? And she's like, yes.
Oh my God.
God, there's so many cringe. As
It's
soon
so
as he
cringy.
starts DJing,
From
the moment he says little boy's room, cringe.
Yeah.
So he's lying next to him. God damn it, you got me in my head about this now.
All right, he's lying on a rug.
He's on the rug with them.
And it's like an overhead shot. So there's like, it's Marnie on the outside, Jess in the middle, and then what's Chris O'Dowd? I don't know.
Chris O'Dowd's name is Thomas John.
Really?
Yeah.
Thomas John. Wow.
Yeah.
So Thomas John is sitting next to, is lying next to them, and then he like reaches over at Jessa and like rubs his hand on like Marnie's
stomach,
and then down
to
crotch,
like her crotch
area. And he's saying, I forget what he's saying. What do you remember what he's saying?
It was basically like, it's so rare to meet two girls that are like beautiful and so open and
then
free.
He goes to touch Jessa and starts going down, and she's like, oops, no, we're leaving.
She sits up immediately. She's like, all right, we gotta go. And then Marnie's like, no, we don't have to go. And she's like, nope, we've overstayed our welcome. We need to go.
Yeah, and I'm like, damn, Jessa's being like realistic.
Yeah.
Like, she is not sleeping with this guy.
Well,
that's for one, and she's definitely not sleeping with
again, at this point, I'm like, why doesn't she just leave? Because Marnie is into it.
Yeah.
So then she's sitting up, then Marnie sits up, and she's like, fine. And then Chris O'Dowd sits up, and then Marnie just grabs Jessa and starts making out with her.
Well, she kisses her.
Yeah.
And O'Dowd's like, what?
Yeah, O'Dowd's looking like,
and then Jessa's like,
crazy.
Jessa gets like a twinkle in her eye, like, huh. And then just goes for it.
Yeah.
And they just start making out. Mm-hmm. And like
Chris
to the point where
like,
I'm like, wait, so are they going to couple up now?
Dude.
Like, I was like, this is going to be interesting. Like,
yeah.
Because that makeout goes on for a while. And then it's kind of comedic how Crystal Dowd's trying to like.
He's trying to find where he fits in.
Like, he's trying to grab like Marnie.
He grabs Jessa. Jessa puts him away. He grabs Marnie's boob and she just like slaps him.
Which I didn't get because Marnie seems like she was into that.
Yeah.
So that
also, how could you tell it wasn't Jessa?
Yeah, because of those meaty. I don't know. And then he tries to like get in the middle of them and start making out.
Yeah,
and like it doesn't happen. And then like,
well, he tries to kiss Marnie, and Marnie's like, "Ew, no."
Yeah, and then she's
like, "What?"
Then her foot extends, and she knocks over the wine, which looked like it was already empty when it got kicked over, but whatever. Right. And why would they just keeping it on the foot? Whatever. So she knocks over that. He flips out because it's a
$10,000 rug
or whatever. I don't care.
What a waste of money.
Yeah. So if it's a $10,000 rug, maybe not just have wine glasses on it.
Yeah.
Whatever.
He is freaking out on him.
So he's freaking out, and he just goes on a tirade monologue about
how hard he works
and how people in Williamsburg, and he hates seeing them because they don't work hard and they don't have to put up with anything. And I was just like, Marnie works all the time. Like, she has a real job. Like, he's just like, it's like him. It was like the projection of people's thoughts of like everybody in this neighborhood of like being
hipstery, like
hipstery
I
and
have
entitled,
a job, blah,
and like,
blah, blah.
Yeah. And it's like,
but they don't have jobs, basically. Kind of like me and you.
Oh, I'm a freelancer.
Same, bro. Same. I'm a podcaster.
That's total TBD. That's still TBD. But no, and like he's just like ripping, like
he's just like tearing them to
just
shreds,
tearing apart and calling. Like, I didn't take a ton of notes on it, but like he's like got spittle. He's like foaming at the mouth, and for me, it made me think about the thing that happened last episode, and almost what happened earlier this episode with Adam. It seems like all of a sudden, these guys just have just monstrous shifts.
Yeah.
In like personality.
Yeah.
Like this guy is like a corny DJ guy that's trying to hook up with these girls, which is a really bad plan. I don't know how he thought he was going to pull both of them. Like I mean,
it happens to people.
It happens to people. I don't know. Like, it didn't seem like he had a plan for it, especially when Jessa was like giving him no love.
Yeah, and he
acknowledged
it.
It wasn't like he was hanging out with a bunch of them. It's like, hey, let's all go back to my place. And he wasn't sure which one liked him. And then it just turns out that they're both game or something. He was just like, yeah, this one doesn't, and this one does.
Yeah.
But I'm going to see. But anyway, like he goes on this tirade, and he's just like, it's completely almost out of character for how weird he is, but it justifies Jessa.
Yeah.
And I felt like that's what happened with the dad in the last episode. Yeah. He goes from like, oh my God, why am I trying to hook up with you, to being like, you owe me, you tease. Like, it's just this complete shift where like, see, Jessa was right again.
Yeah, he keeps screaming about like, I want to get balls deep into something tonight. Yeah. And you're not just going to hook up with each other and then I watch for a little while. I want to fuck one of you.
Yeah. And I'm just like, geez, that's so aggressive. And like, there's one part where like, Marnie's like, all right, we're going to leave. Please don't hurt us. Like she says like under her breath as they get it ready to go. And it's just like, okay, he could have been weird and they didn't want to have to do it. But did he have to go like 0 to 100 like that? Like I could see him being frustrated. Like,
yeah.
It just seems like it's a character that hasn't been developed enough to have him just spout out everything that like he's like not just ripping on the culture of Williamsburg and the people. He's also like just a monster as a person. Like he was ripping on the culture and like not just being like, I'm getting balls deep in one of you tonight and no one's leaving if I don't, like kind of way.
Yeah.
Like you'd be like, okay, this guy has his own ideals. He thought it was going to be an easy thing to hook up with these like, you know, bohemian type girls.
Yeah.
Then you'd be like, okay. And then he realizes it's not going to happen and he gets upset about it. Sure. But like the rage.
Yeah. It's like very out of nowhere.
Yeah.
All right. I have 2 questions for you about this situation.
Okay.
Okay. I forgot the one question already. I already forgot it.
Oh,
but
this is terrible.
Yeah, it's terrible. I do remember the one.
I have 2 questions for you. One of them I forgot. Can't wait. Can't wait.
Hopefully it'll jog my memory at some point.
No, I forgot the first one.
Damn. Oh, I do remember the first. Okay. The first one is, we're guys. We don't experience men like women do.
True.
Do you think that this scenario happens a lot, where a guy will just like flip a switch and he's all of a sudden a maniac? Because I could see that happening.
I believe that does happen, and I could see it happen. It's when you're watching a fictionalized TV show. Mm-hmm. It's like story narratives where like things that happen in real life. Like if you were to write down stuff that happened in your day, it would be boring.
Yeah.
To like watch it, as opposed to like you just can't have like things like the callback of the Brooke Shields thing. Mm-hmm. You know, like the chances that like when that happens, it's like crazy. That's like a good tie-in, and that's like crafted story. It just seems like, for me, my issue isn't like the guys necessarily going crazy, because I can see that happening. Mm-hmm. It just seems like the guys go crazy to justify the initial thought of the person.
Because you know what I'm wondering is, I'm wondering if women that have watched that, they see that and they're like, yeah, I've had this happen, like all of them. Or if this is like a common thing, or if this is just, even women watching this are like, this is like a little out of nowhere. Yeah. Because we both are like, it's kind of a weird character moment.
And that's the tricky thing about just being 2 guys watching a show without like...
Boys watching girls.
Yeah, so like we're bringing our perspective, just in our life experience to that. Like, I'm not saying that doesn't happen. There's a bunch of like weird guys like that. It's just like when the character seems like he's set up. It just seems like when a character's set up a certain way, and then it seems like it could be a way to easily write that person like he's bad. Like like if we never see the dad again from that Jessa was babysitting for, that was a way to get him off the like get that character out of there. Yeah. Like, where you like, oh, I don't care about that guy. He's gone. Yeah. Like, as opposed to when we were watching it before, we're like, oh, man, I don't want them to hook up. This is weird. Why is this guy doing this? To like, oh, Jesse, you dodged a bullet there. Yeah. Like, as opposed to like what he probably is. It's just like, he might be a little aggressive and like mad at himself, but he wouldn't be like, yeah, tease. Like, well, like, I mean, he had chances to just sleep with her. Yeah. Like, it's not like he was like, oh, this will be my ploy. Go to this crowded party. Yeah. Like, he's been alone with her. Like, a lot. Like, I don't know. It just seems like, oh, this is a convenient way to make this person the bad guy and this person's fine. Yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, I was but watching. No, I mean, it happened. I can't say, I'm not saying that this isn't from something. I don't want to discredit like what it is, because it does seem like very out of character, but maybe that is a lot more common than we even know. Yeah. But which would be terrible. But also in that monologue, there's some comedic stuff. That's he calls her like Mary Poppins and shit. Mary Poppins, and he's like, oh, like this nose is real. No nose is that perfect. Like, and it's just like that comedic angst in that. So like it's very written. Yeah. Like it's not like, Okay. The second question that I have. Say that you're in Chris O'Dowd's shoes in that scenario. You see Jessa and Marnie hooking up. What do you do? Like, what is his course of action? Because he goes to like try and get in. He tries to get in, and then he's getting rejected. He tries to get in too soon, I think. But it's also like his place too. So it's like, what's gonna like once he's rejected? Like, where does he go? Not defending him, obviously, but like if you're in that scenario, what? Okay, what do you think is the best? The worst case scenario is that these 2 girls hook up on his expensive rug, and he just watches and drinks wine. Like, that could be the worst case scenario if he doesn't do anything and it goes full bore, right? Like, so then he's just basically watching lesbian porn in real life in front of himself.
Which could be fucking cool. Like, if that was in a movie and it was like a guy just watching girls hooking up and him drinking wine, you'd be like, whoa, that guy's a fucking badass.
That is what people think this podcast is when I tell them it's boys watching girls. The person, I'm like, oh, I'm doing a podcast called Boys Watching Girls. Their faces go, oh, it's us watching girls on HBO. They're like, oh, okay.
Oh, that's better.
They're like so relieved. Like they've already.
They just think that we're voyeurs.
They haven't hit the 1 at 911 yet. They just like stop. They're like, oh, okay. There's not an emergency. Sorry, he just didn't explain it. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, he could literally just be hanging out, DJing. He could be making a mix while they're hooking up.
That's true.
And he has a story to tell at work. Like, if he wanted to be like, oh, okay, yeah, I went to the bar. These 2 girls came back, and like they just went at it at my place.
Yeah.
And then he could have a guy be like, what? You didn't get into it? You're not a man. Or the other guy be like, that's crazy. Like, that's just crazy. But like,
he could also even lie and be like, I didn't feel like it, so they just were like, whatever.
Or like, you see where that's going to go before you dive in more. Like, he's trying to get into the kiss part.
Well,
I don't know. I think, who knows?
I don't know. Yeah, I just don't know what his course of action could have been. Obviously not what he did.
I'm saying
that was the worst course of action.
Like, if he was making out with him and they knocked the thing over, would he still have been flipped out? You know what I mean? Like, was it flipped out because the wine spilled and he wasn't getting any?
Yeah, I think that definitely was a part of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tricky situation when you bring back more than one person to your place, and especially when one person is clearly not into you. And at some point, it's that divide and conquer thing where you gotta be like, hey, Marnie, why don't you like tell your friend to go?
Yeah.
And we can hang out. Like, you have to get Jessa out of there.
Yeah. I agree with you.
Yeah, because Jessa's gonna be like, let's go. Like,
yeah. All right. And then afterwards, they get up, and then Jessa says that she's going to eat Marnie's cunt on the street just to like get that last dig in on him.
Yeah. Because because Marnie, this is what we're forgetting. Marnie says, oh, I'm not a lesbian.
Yeah.
I'm just like, and I was like,
I'm just trying to be like free.
Yeah. And he's like, what? And I think that might trigger him. Like, I don't forget if that's after his like monologue or not. But it's like, when she says that, I'm like, that makeout was going on for like a long time. Yeah. And I don't know what. Let's go to Marnie real quick. Okay. What was her intention?
I have no idea.
That's what I'm confused by. Like, she wants to hook up. It seems like she wants to hook up with this guy.
Yeah.
She wants to just be like, you know what, whatever. Even if I just have sex with him and I don't see him again, I just need to get past the hump.
Yeah.
She just needs that rebound. And I'm like, sure. And I thought Jess would be like, whatever, this guy's a loser, but I know where he lives. And
yeah.
And I'm crazy enough to break a window if I need to. Like, if I found out something happened, I'm going to leave. Yeah. Marnie, you make your weird decisions yourself. Get out of your head. I told you to get out of your head. Go hook up with this weird DJ that you're still somehow into while he's playing this mix and just being as weird as possible.
Yeah.
So fine. Jessa, just leave, say whatever, deal with her later, right? But then Marnie goes, when they're about to leave, or like Jessa wants to leave, instead of being like, okay, Jessa, go. She's like, she kisses her.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, is that all you wanted to do? Because you could have done that.
Yeah, you could have did that at the bar. You didn't even need Chris O'Dowd.
Yeah, like, you don't need Chris O'Dowd for you to kiss Jessa. And Jessa, when that kiss happens, she goes, game on.
Yeah.
And just goes in, and they're like making out.
Hard.
And I was like, whoa, did Jessa have a thing for Marnie? Like, I'm sure Jessa's kind of, I don't know, she hasn't been bisexual, but I'm sure she
probably is.
Or like at least free enough to be like, I'll make out with a girl, but not care.
Yeah.
Like, but I don't think Marnie's not that way, but she's like into, like when they're making out, they're into each other.
Yeah. Marnie, yeah, that is a good point. Like, what is Marnie's end game in this? Because, like,
was her plan to be like,
obviously Jessa is not into it. Like, she knows from the start that Jessa's not into it. The Chris O'Dowd.
Yeah.
So, like, why even kiss her?
Were you going to kiss her?
Allow her to leave.
Yeah, or were you trying to kiss her so that she would stay and she'd be into it? Because if that's the case, then when Crystal Dowd starts to get into it with Marnie, why is she slapping his hand away? At that point, she's like, no, I'm into Jessa now. And I'm like, where did that come from? Yeah, and it's like shocking HBO stuff, but like, what's the motivation there? Like, what is your end game? Are you going to make out with Jessa on this rug here? And like, that threw me off.
Vance bringing up a lot of good points. Yeah, that made no sense.
Yeah. If they weren't going to make out And I thought they were gonna make out, and then they'd be like, "All right, Crystal Dow, you're in," or they were gonna make out, and it was gonna be like, "Oh, this is a Jess and Marnie hookup love story twist."
Yeah.
But it's not that either, because it ends with her being like, "I'm not a lesbian." Like,
It just ends with nothing.
Yeah, and Jess was like, "Yeah, she's not. She's just
trying to get out of her head."
He's like, "What?" Like, I could definitely see him being like completely frustrated by the mixed signal that kiss gave.
Yeah.
If they just got up and left, he would have been like, "All right," but then they just made out in front of him. And they're not, they're not like lesbian couple, but like, I don't know.
Yeah, I have too many thoughts. I'm just kind of like stunned now.
Yeah.
Now I'm just like, wow, this.
That's what I was saying after the episode. I was like, I don't know how I'm supposed to feel about this.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
What are your final thoughts? Because that's basically where the episode ends.
I just don't know like what's next for Marnie here.
I don't know what's next for anybody.
I don't know what's next for Jessa. I'm afraid of what's next for Hannah and Adam.
I don't care what's next for Jessa.
And I'm kind of afraid of what's happening with Shoshana and Ray, which left off an episode before that.
We're dangling on that cliff, man.
I know.
We're dangling, bro.
And
well, perhaps the next episode will enlighten us on what happened with Shoshana
What's the title
and
of this guy?
Ray. The next episode is titled "Leave Me Alone."
That could be anybody saying that to anyone.
Exactly. There's so many people that need to be left alone in this show.
That could be Marty saying it to Hannah, Hannah saying it to Adam.
It could be Shoshana saying it to her walls because everyone has left her alone because she's never in the show.
Oh man, I hope all four of them in this next one.
I hope so too.
But yeah, this was an interesting one. I like didn't know how. Like last episode had a lot of interesting stuff going on in it.
Yeah.
This one. Interesting stuff. It's not. It's just like I don't know what they're trying to.
I would say that our low is that the return episode where Hannah goes home. I feel like that's the lowest, worst, most boring episode that we've seen so far. Where do you think this ranks? Like maybe 1 or 2 episodes above it?
It's a little above. It's like in the middle somewhere. Like I can't remember all of it.
Yeah, I mean I can't remember.
We only did 8 now. Like
I think this is probably the second to worst one.
Really? I wouldn't say that. I think there's some flaws in it, but at least we're... Yeah, it's a tricky one because it's not a bad episode. It's just I don't know what it was saying.
I'll say this. Shit is definitely going on in this episode, but in the end, it's like I feel unfulfilled.
Stasis, yeah. Like we ended up with like, oh, Hannah and Adam are still a couple.
Yeah, everyone's back to where they were at the beginning of the episode.
Like it's not a situational comedy, but like in the sitcom, like the weirdest stuff happens, but the next week everything's back to normal. Yeah, and it goes. And this kind of feels like that. Like if this episode didn't happen, what has changed in these people's lives? Like Adam and Hannah are still together. Mm-hmm. She's gotten peed on but doesn't care. Marnie's broken up with Charlie. There's nothing there. Jessa and her made out, which I think will never be an issue again. Yeah, I don't think it'll ever be addressed on this show. Never be addressed. Crystal Dow's character, not a part of it. Yeah, he'll never be back. We may or may not ever see this one-man show of Adams. We'll never see the babysitter that Jessa used to work for. I gotta say, I hope that there's something with that. Yeah, there's got to be some kind of closure aside from I lost my job. Just like that's it. Like that's the whole story. That was a big. That was thing. That was a long stint. Yeah, it wasn't like she got a job, lost the kids, hooked up with the guy, got fired. Like, why not just have her hook up? Because they're trying to change Jessica's character. I feel like they're trying to make her not be like, I'm just doing bad things. But she was really into that old guy when she thought he gave him drinks. Yeah. Why? Why? And it's not like she has a history of hooking up with old guys, because the guy that she hooked up with in the bathroom was a young guy. Yeah. Even her ex-boyfriend was just a guy. He was a young guy too. You man, fuck her. I don't know. I don't understand. But she's a good judge of people because Crystal Dow was a weirdo monster. I mean, that's a crapshoot. I don't think that she's a good judge of character. She's not. All right, maybe we'll find out more on the next episode. Leave me alone. So until next time, see you guys.